Yeah, and then you get the like guy who chants a dead language and then turns wine into blood and like makes you eat a dead man's body. Like, oh wait, that wasn't the crazy kooky stuff. That is true religion. Like, oh God, it's so sad. And the cringiest thing isn't all that. It isn't the demon stuff. It's the clearly memorized definitions of religion and spirituality that it's like this is like crappy theological philosophy 101 that this dork bag has memorized in a way that makes people seem smart because it's a memorization of something. But when you parse out all their ideas, they're wildly hypocritical and essentially stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I love the idea that people who like consult crystals are somehow more grounded than people who consult other crystals. You know what I mean? Like just different, like a cross. Well, the cross is different. Well, yeah. Well, what's the difference between that and the crystal? Yeah. What's the difference between that and like the bread and the wine and the whatnot? It's all this shit. Excuse me. Whoa.
You're fine. Post aftermath. You're safe, dude.
Oh, am I? Okay, good. Woo! Well, can we drop some bombs here? First of all, I love the idea though that he really likes the plot to Stranger Things. He doesn't remember she's an alien, but he does remember that she's telepathic. And he's like really, really into that. But then when she says that maybe like a clairvoyant or someone told her that she was a feminist, he's like, whoa. Was it Vecna? Because I thought that Vecna was actually a feminist. I think Vecna in fact is trans. Vecna had top surgery and you could tell from a mile away. Like he's like, I don't think he knows which is fact and fiction here.
What he's missing is his own, this is so annoying, but like his framework is you start with like mysticism essentially. Then you realize to go to the next level, which is religion. To do what? To find meaning and causality in the world. And the next step, I hate to tell you, is actually science. Like you've admitted you're behind the curve on that general arc of human arrival at understanding. And
keep going. Keep studying.
There yet.
Almost there to the Enlightenment. Almost, still stuck in the Dark Ages. Still in that hamster wheel.
But that's mine. Who's yours?
Oh, my garbage person for this week has to be President Joe Biden. Everybody, President Joe Biden for his utter and literal physical embrace of someone like Benjamin Netanyahu in his ongoing war on the people of Gaza, this far outsized reaction and response to Hamas's attack that keeps on going. The targeting of civilians, the continued repeating of lines that have been fed to him by Israel itself, talking about Palestinians using people as human shields. The human shields line always gets me because you're like, okay, well then what about the person doing the shooting? Do they shoot through the shield? So you're shooting kids, okay. Look, I've been very supportive of Joe Biden, especially on foreign policy. I do think that the exit from Afghanistan was critical, and I think it was unpopular, but it was important to do. I also think that his line and walking this line in Ukraine, not having boots on the ground, has been really good. It has been a difficult war to figure out where the United States should be on. I do believe the people of Ukraine should be supported in their, their attempt at getting some sovereignty. This one ain't it. This one ain't it for me. And you see the American people he is out of step with. You see specifically young Democrats that he's out of step with. I think this has been a horrible year, a horrible week, couple weeks for Joe Biden. He has not argued or called for a ceasefire. The guy needs to understand diplomacy. The guy needs to use diplomacy. And I would say that also diplomatic solutions need to be put forward, not just with Israel and Hamas and Gaza, but also in Ukraine. It is time to stop just putting money down this endless war path and actually come to the table, try to rein specifically Israel in. Vacating an entire city is a human rights crime, right? Like calling for everyone to leave while borders are being bombed and humanitarian aid is not allowed to enter is a war crime, y'all. We're standing with war crimes. That's what Biden is doing right now. So I'm sorry, he's my garbage person. And I hate to say that because this is at at the end of actually a lot of good things that he's done, right? Specifically on the domestic front. But this has been a test. It's been a massive test for him, and he's failed it, in my opinion. And yeah, I'm feeling really disheartened about this administration after this week.
Guy garbage person's supposed to be like a dork. Supposed to be like a turd burger, like a Michael Knowles. Like the community garbage person isn't is also
is the president. I know. I'm mixing it up.
The community garbage person is a murderer.
Community garbage person has really let us down, you know? He really has. And I know we're supposed to get what did you say, dork bags? I love it, but Biden's a dork bag on Israel, in my opinion. He's a massive dork bag. He doesn't look strong. He looks weak. And the fact that he's asking for more money for the US-Mexico border is a big old dork bag for the Republicans, as if they're ever gonna give him credit for militarizing the border even more. He's a dork bag for not walking back Trump policy when it comes to Israel-Palestine, moving the embassy of the United States out of Jerusalem back to Tel Aviv, like he should have done on day one. He's a dork bag for not negotiating an Iran deal.
Again, we're like missing the point as we're over time. We are missing the point of the garbage person.
No,
that's an A block. The community garbage person.
This is okay.
Let's fifth place, Matt Walsh for discussing a baby's sexuality. Coming in fourth place, Sean Hannity for pressing GOP to elect Jim Jordan. Third place, Trump for his wine fest after getting another gag order. Second place, House GOP for wanting election denier Jim Jordan as the speaker. And number one, garbage person in the same category as Francesca's is the Chicago landlord for fatally stabbing a Palestinian child.
No,
so
Biden's not
outnumbered here in who a garbage person should be.
First of all, stop.
But we're out of time. We are over time. Indisputable does need to start in 2 minutes.
Brett, don't you take over. I say when the show ends. You guys, it's been real. I love y'all. Listen to the Bitchuation Room and watch it later on today at 1 p.m. I'll have a lot more thoughts. Brett Ehrlich there for Jessica Fiorentini here. Stay safe out there. Stay sane out there. Slay out there. I'll see you on Monday.
Welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day. None other than Ben Gleib, comedian extraordinaire, and also Rebel HQ contributor superstar. Always fascinating to have his breakdown. All right. Top story of the day. Donald Trump promises 100% conclusive evidence of the election being rigged 3 years ago. Let's put his mug shot up, full mass. It's a beautiful thing to say. Trump promises massive information and 100% evidence on rigged election from 3 years ago. All right, here's the tweet, or the, Truth Social. Does anyone notice that the election rigging Biden administration never goes after the riggers, but only after those that want to catch and expose the rigging dogs? Massive information and 100% evidence will be made available during the corrupt trials started by our political opponent. We will never let 2020 happen again. Look at the result. Our country is being destroyed. MAGA. That's how the former president of the United States talks. Let's put his mug shot back up again. Why am I putting this mug shot up? Because I feel like Donald Trump is a criminal. He was a criminal prior to being president. It's part of the reason he was able to become president. He is a con man. Politics has de-evolved to such a degree that con men became normative, thus giving rise to the greatest con man of them all, Donald Trump. Like any good conspiracy theorist, according to Colby Hall of Mediaite, former President Donald Trump knows that the question or allegation of something is more important than the proof. Why is Bigfoot still a thing? Because no one has yet proven that the weird man-ape creature does not exist. The same can be said of allegations that the 2020 election was stolen, as Trump and his minions continued to prattle on about. On the very day that House Speaker wannabe Representative Jim Jordan refused to admit that the 2020 election was not stolen, Trump took to social media and promised that massive information and 100% evidence will be made available during the corrupt trials started by our political opponent. Oh, will it now? Trump has forever claimed he lost. Trump has forever claimed he lost his re-election bid, not because he's a loser, but because some other nefarious forces came into play. Okay, and Trump's insistence that he is the victim flies in the face of even his most senior administration officials, who basically said, that's BS. So remember, former Attorney General Bill Barr called his claims bullish. On Thursday, one of the chief architects of the stolen election conspiracy, Sidney Powell, pleaded guilty to a Fulton County case alleging election fraud. Sidney Powell will also be testifying. The number of supporters are vocally in line behind Trump's BS claims is getting smaller and crazier. But here's the thing. Sidney Powell, Trump's former attorney, one of the most hardcore conspiracy theorists, well, that person is now turning state. That's what we call it, snitching, willing to testify against Donald Trump or other cronies involved in this masquerade. They engaged in significant misconduct, significant federal and local violations, and basically Sidney Powell has admitted as such. Sidney Powell is also an unindicted co-conspirator in a federal case. The reason why Sidney Powell is unindicted is probably because Sidney Powell is a cooperating witness there as well, or will be very soon. It is interesting to note that facts do not matter to those who support Trump. Trump is aware of this. Jim Jordan is aware of this. And every feckless leader in the conservative movement is aware that they have created such a distance between truth and people that it has allowed for Donald Trump to rule their political class. All right, Ben, thoughts here?
I don't have thoughts that don't anger me and don't come out in a way that makes me seem unhinged, probably a little bit, Doc, because anybody who can still follow this man, believe in this man, it's beyond stupidity now. It's willful ignorance, and it has been nefarious in purpose for a very long time. He tweeted or posted, I don't even want to ever say quote unquote truth social, because he literally called a thing truth so he could say lies and it would be called truths on the air.
Yep.
He posted on his defunct fake ass platform there would be 100% proof and evidence a few months ago already, and he was about to release it. They only got the press conference. Then it didn't come out with it. Then I'm told I shouldn't release it. You don't have the evidence, bro. The only evidence you have is that you're as fake as your tan. You're as fake as your hairdo. You're as fake as the clothes you make in China, but claim you're about America first. He's the fakest person in the world, which would be a horrible enough quality if he weren't a traitor to the government of the United States of America, and praise to all that is possible that he ends up in jail. So if you still follow him, you're beyond reproach, you're beyond reach, you're too far gone. And I hope you find a rocking chair somewhere and just go back and forth and say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. That's all you got left.
Yeah. Developments to come. All right. So an adult, let's put her at full mask, decided to throw a party for children to engage in inappropriate conduct and have them engage in inappropriate conduct as well. It is insane. Shannon O'Connor, a 48-year-old party mom in California, is accused of throwing secret alcohol-fueled parties for underage teens in her mansion and encouraging the juveniles to engage in sex acts, some of which were allegedly not even consensual. In her mansion, according to the allegation, this was done for her own gratification. Also allegedly performed multiple acts online, searches for terms related to the sexualization of minors. You're looking at a monster. This is true. You're looking at a pure monster. O'Connor allegedly used social media platforms to communicate with students at Los Gatos High School, where two of her sons were enrolled. She would often use Snapchat or text messages telling teens to leave their homes late at night, come to her house where they could drink alcohol that she purchased for them. Prosecutors say O'Connor hosted the parties for kids, mostly 14 and 15, where she would advocate for juveniles to engage in consensual and non-consensual sex acts, buying vodka and Fireball whiskey. O'Connor allegedly provided the kids with condoms and coached them not to tell their parents about the parties. She also allegedly discouraged the children from calling for help when one of the partygoers would pass out or vomit from drinking too much, authorities said. At one party, O'Connor handed a teenager a condom and pushed him into a room with another drunk teen, officials said. During a New Year's Eve party with about 5 14-year-old children, she allegedly watched and laughed as a drunk teen battered a young girl in bed. At one party, in another case, she allegedly brought a drunk teen into a bedroom in her home where an intoxicated 14-year-old was lying in the bed. Afterwards, girl asked O'Connor, quote, "Why did you leave me in there with him?" Question mark. Like, why did you do that? Question mark. Like you knew what he was going to do to me. Put a picture up again. That's a monster. There's more. Prosecutors say she also let a minor drive her SUV in a parking lot while two other kids were hanging onto the back of the vehicle, obviously not concerned about their safety. One of the two teens hanging onto the back allegedly fell off and was knocked unconscious. At the time, O'Connor convinced police that everything was fine and she was taking the kids home, but the boy was knocked unconscious, suffered a severe concussion, and was up all night vomiting and experiencing headaches. Prosecutors say, put up a picture again. I wonder, what was it about her that allowed the police to ignore an unconscious teenager and believe her? I wonder. The charges. O'Connor, whose 15-year-old son is one of the victims in the case, is currently facing 39 criminal charges, including felony child abuse, sexual assault, sexual battery, annoying or molesting a child, and providing alcohol to minors. O'Connor has pleaded not guilty to all charges against her and is scheduled to appear in court for a hearing on November 6th. Earlier this year, O'Connor was hospitalized after 5 female inmates at the Santa Clara County Jail allegedly beat her in a vicious and unprovoked attack. Okay. So where do you start? Well, let's start with the fact that at one point there's adverse police interaction. A police officer has the opportunity to stop a whole lot of this from happening in the future if the cop looks at the evidence. I guarantee you, if, let's say, O'Connor was of a different hue, that evidence would have been looked at significantly. How many times have we seen police officers engage in extreme action against a Black mother for nothing, for what turned out to be nothing? This was a something. And somehow she was able to talk herself out of any criminal punishment or penalty. And then the severity of it, the extreme nature of this, having them come to her home, her mansion, involving her own children, engaging not only in this extreme criminal behavior, but setting up individuals under her authority to be violated as if she's their friend. You can trust her. And then she lures you in and sets you up. This is a monster, in my humble opinion. I do these stories to remind everyone that monsters come in all shapes and sizes and will typically engage in behavior in order to be trusted by those they victimize. Ben, thoughts?
Doc, she was beaten in jail, it said, in an unprovoked attack. I wouldn't call it unprovoked. She provoked it by being somebody who decided to ruin the lives and innocence of so many children that were trusted to her care, including her own children. I mean, monster is putting it lightly. She is a depraved, disgusting devil of a human being. And you're also right. You know, the cops came there and what did they see? Oh, just a child that was knocked unconscious from falling outside of a car. You don't get knocked unconscious when you're inside of the vehicle. It happens when you're hanging off the back of the car. It's the most endangering behavior possible. You couldn't find something worse. I guess maybe it's not as bad as finding a little bit of weed in someone's car who is not endangering the lives of any unconscious minors, but it's close.
Yeah. Obviously, this is going forward in the criminal justice system. She has pleaded not guilty. We will follow this until its completion. A man who decided to be bigoted, who decided to, do this. Here it is.
Tuesday, the front in Cherry Hill, the daughter got smashed. Exactly. Is that what you want? No. And you want to know where I was when all this happened? I don't care. At work, monkey. I don't care where you were. At morgue. Just like I told the Mount Laurel police, get these monkey out of here, and you can't do it. That's me talking. 3602 Gramercy Way, that's where I live. Come see me.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, White, why are you back over here?
Well, somebody called me.
Someone called you. It's private property. You have no jurisdiction here whatsoever.
I do when somebody calls me.
Hold on.
I need back up.
You know what?
Bro.
Hold on. Go ahead. No. I'm going to let you do your thing. Go talk to these. Go ahead.
Stop.
You go talk to let them know what I'm all about and what their rights they have.
All right. You want to go back to your house? I'll come back to you.
No, I'll stay right here. It's common property.
Okay.
Have a nice night. I'm going to let you guys get an education right now.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'll do my job. Right?
No problem. I'm not going away until your husband stops finding me and threatening me while I'm at fucking work.
Cagney, cut it out, man.
Oh, wait.
Talk to them.
Arrest me.
I'm not
you
arresting you
kidding?
right now. Relax.
You
Just cut it out, dude.
That's what you can see, Brandon. 3602 Gramercy Way. Come.
We have an update. He has pleaded guilty to hate crimes. Here's his mugshot. We're about to teach him a lesson today, give him an education properly today. You're looking at a New Jersey man who went viral. He went viral for his bigoted antics against a black neighbor. He has now pleaded guilty to a hate crime. I will explain. Edward Matthews pleaded guilty to 4 counts of bias, intimidation, and possession of a controlled, dangerous substance with the intent to distribute. Isn't that something? There's more. Matthews reportedly entered his plea on October 17th. Video of the confrontation showed Matthews repeatedly taunting his black neighbor on his own doorstep with racial slurs as well as spitting on him. Now, before I continue, the interaction, and I said this when we first covered the story. I mean, the officer, this has to be the nicest officer known to man. This is Officer Friendly 2.0. Hey, guy, I'm not going to arrest you. No, that's not why I'm here. That has never been said to a black person who's being aggressive. You have a white male, this man is out of control. This man is non-compliant. This individual is absolutely primed to be arrested. But he literally gets the okay, hey, I'm not going to arrest you. How can you make that conclusion, officer? You don't know what this man has done because you have not assessed the scene yet. And you don't know what he's going to do. But you can conclude there is no arrest that's going to happen. And as soon as the officer says this, the man became emboldened. He was more empowered, more vicious, more racist. He has now pled guilty. According to CBS News, one neighbor said that Matthews had previously used a BB gun to shoot out his neighbor's window. He also smeared dog feces all over their car. The protesters reportedly threw garbage at him while he was being arrested. Matthews later told the Philadelphia Inquirer that he was drunk during the rant. Superior Court Judge Gerard H. Breland scheduled Matthews' sentencing hearing for December 8th. He is facing up to 8 years in jail. 8 years in jail because the man could not control his own racism. It was easy for him to stay out of trouble. It really was. But he decided to push. And now, well, he's facing up to 8 years. We will give you the update in December. Ben, hell of a story.
Yeah, I mean, other than him being a violently racist person who shoots people's windows and rubs dog feces on their property, seems like a nice guy. Seems like a really,
other than those things,
upstanding citizen. I mean, this guy is so disgusting and also very confused because in the video leading up to the officer arriving, he keeps telling his neighbor that he will not leave his front porch because it's common property and it's not his private property. And then the cop arrives and he says, "This is private property. You can't be here. You have no jurisdiction here." And yeah, that cop, that was the most Mayberry situation I've ever seen. He tells him, "Go back home. I'll come visit you later.
Right.
We'll have a lemonade and laugh about how I interrogated the black kids first." I mean, that is the most wild thing. And those bleeps, covered the words completely. But to be very clear, that man was hurling the N-word repeatedly and hurled it more confidently after the cop arrived. He was not even trying to cover up his hate crime. Spits on his neighbor. And you just have to hand it to the restraint of that young man that did not swing at that guy and knock him out. I would have knocked that guy out in 2 seconds. And I would be probably facing a charge too, or maybe it's self-defense at that point. But incredible example of how to be restraintful is to be able to be in the face of such virulent hate and not take that into your own hands.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even hear anything like, "Hey, I'm just detaining you to do an investigation." I mean, that's a common one. Not even that much. All right, we got more. On the other side, it's indisputable. Stick and stay.
Now I'm going to do something very different here and read some 1-star reviews of the Young Turks on Apple Podcasts. Donnie Franchise said, "Pretty much it's like listening to a trash compactor." Someone else said, "Negative, anti-American propaganda." And others said, "Out of context, misquotes, typical leftists who are afraid to debate, just smear. These two would be perfect for CNN or MSLSD." Well, Donnie, you might have a point, because I feel like a trash compactor right now after taking in all those garbage reviews. But thanks for listening anyway. We are, in fact, unapologetically progressive. And if you're not ready for bold commentary, then we're not the show for you. On the Young Turks, we speak up about the issues that matter, and we want to make positive change happen. And now here's why we actually do the show. Mariel Morales said, "Found this podcast from the True Crime Podcast, Fruit Loops, and other great progressive podcasts. I've become an instant fan of the Young Turks. Great conversation, great takes, very well composed, factual podcast, very informative." Love to hear that. Z55 said, "It's a joy to experience such awareness and intelligence from fascinating people. And Anna is gorgeous and brilliant. Apparently I'm just fascinating, but I'll take it." Paul for Progress said, "News well delivered. Appreciate it." KOOK said, "Democrats and Republicans are fair game for TYT. And if Anna or Cenk provide disinformation about anything, they will admit they made a mistake and correct it. We appreciate you noticing that we are honest. To people who actually listen to the substance of the show, thank you. Your listenership supports what we do. Leave a 5-star rating for the Young Turks on Apple Podcasts. Let's take the ratings back from the trolls. Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. Here at TYT, we understand this. That's why we're not gonna price gouge you or use inflation as an excuse to raise our prices. A TYT membership is not your typical subscription, but basic membership is still just $4.99. So what do you get for that price? For starters, you're getting exclusive programming, unique, exclusive designs from Shop TYT, access to a members-only chat, giveaways, emojis, and so many other amazing perks. But most importantly, you're helping to make an impact. As a TYT member, you not only help us do the shows every day, but you drive real positive change in the process. In 2017, we helped to start Justice Democrats right here on TYT. That's a group that got a dozen progressives elected into Congress. That's amazing, you did that. Your support also funds TYT's very own investigative reporting. Just recently, our reporters exposed the Fellowship Foundation and pressured lawmakers into boycotting that bigoted event. Isn't that amazing? We raised over $30,000 for Jackson, Mississippi and delivered clean water to thousands of people in need. Our petitions, polls, and community of activists help keep the corruption of Washington in check. That's the impact of what just $4.99 a month from our members can do. And we're just getting started. Positive change doesn't occur overnight, but with your contribution, we can make it happen together.
You don't see a lot of news coverage in the mainstream media of the peaceful Black Lives Matter protests that happened throughout the country.
Black Americans are hurting. Minorities in this country are hurting.
We always talk about starting from the bottom up, but the problem is the bottom up is always the least amount of power. No one cares about them, and until someone actually cares about them, then we'll do something about it.
Please, for God's sake, America, understand, acknowledge, and work towards getting to a new reality where Black lives actually.
All right, welcome back. Good to be with you. We have a few comments. All right, okay. Biden flavor corn pop. Trump lies without a Karen. I like that. Without a Karen in the world. Line taken from Mr. Gleib. I love it. I love it. That's all right.
From my special, The Mad King.
Yes. Yes.
We need a more chill planet without a Karen in the world.
I love it. I may use that, but I will source the you as the originator. Next TYT reporter. Absolutely. If she has a mansion, she's probably wealthy and thinks she is above the law. Naturally, right? All right.
There's no jurisdiction in her area for the police.
That's right. There's private jurisdiction here. Yeah. Neil Whittington. Thank you so much, Neil. Chesterbro pled guilty today, and they're off. Yep, that's right. The Jack, thank you. Describe willful ignorance, Ben. Describe willful ignorance.
Yep.
All right. And yeah, James Thompson. Thank you, James. Gifted one indisputable. We appreciate you doing that for a new member. Thank you so much. Got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to trouble. There's an African-American man threatening my life. I'm scared for the drug dealers. I mean, the people who look like drug dealers with tinted windows. I'm scared.
Oh, so you're racist is what you're saying.
I'm not racist.
Yes, you are. You're profiling us. You don't know me. I live in the neighborhood. That's fine. And I will be calling the police. How about that?
Do that.
You're fine. Okay. Call the police. Call the police.
Now, honey.
That's fine. You can call the police.
Call them now, sweetheart.
Go ahead. We will.
I'm scared for you because you almost tried to run me over.
What are you talking? We're still at the stop sign.
Right here. I did not move at all.
What are you talking about?
You were holding on to the pole.
What are you talking about? Babe, that's fine.
Your car's way past the line.
Because we're trying to turn. There's no stop sign. We can't see around the corner.
This bitch make no sense.
Be careful of what, honey?
By that, be careful. That's all I'm saying.
Of what? Of what?
People who are dealing drugs, be careful.
Okay, and you're accusing me of doing that?
No.
Yes, you did. You said you look like a drug dealer. Your car's tinted. I live in this neighborhood. No, that's fine. No, you be careful. No, that's not okay. That's fine. That's fine because I'm trying to turn. Okay, so don't do that. Don't do that. Listen, I can tell there's something going on. Honey, go home. Go home. Okay, that's fine, but go home. Do not do that. Don't do that. You're going to talk to the wrong person. No, you be careful. You be careful. You're talking to the wrong one. Oh my God. Did that just happen to us? It just happened to us. What the just happened? This is Vernon, Connecticut, y'all.
Yep. In the midst of situations like that, you can find it quite hard to believe that you're in the middle of defending your existence. Now, I will say this. I don't know if the individual had something else going on or not, but I will remind people, when we say things that are extreme, when we talk in ways that are, well, bigoted, there are impressionable people listening to the rhetoric. Now, according to this narrative, according to the person in the community, she correlates tinted windows with drug dealers. Now, where would she get that idea from? How does that become a connector? Okay, I do think the person on the pastor's side did a great job trying to explain, no, this is not a drug deal. We are not drug dealers. And that's racist what you're saying because it's profiling. All right, Ben, thoughts here.
Listen, there might be something to what the Karen's saying because the other day I got drugs from somebody who has tinted windows, and that person was myself. So I got some edibles from the store, and apparently I've been dealing to myself for a long time. This Karen was spot on. I mean, if she was really concerned about having almost been hit, just say, please be careful when you are crossing intersections. Don't need to also throw in because you look like a drug dealer to me because I am a bigoted old lady.
Right. Yeah, that was interesting. All right. Be careful. I don't want you to get an intent to distribute to yourself charge. You know?
Thank you so much. Don't worry. I will pass it to myself very sneakily.
All right, there you go. There you go. Okay. I've been saying this for a long time. Prosecutors who engage in prosecutorial misconduct, they have to start being arrested, charged with crime because it's illegal. But guess what? Finally, it has happened. Put up the picture full mass. This is a hell of a story. In Illinois, Nick Tretenko and Andrew Horvat are two ex-prosecutors being charged for their alleged role in lying in the case of Jackie Wilson, who wrongfully ended up spending 36 years in prison. They're now on trial. Wilson was exonerated in 2020. So Nick Tretenko faces charges including obstruction of justice and perjury. And his co-defendant, Andrew Horvat, was charged with official misconduct. Wilson endured decades behind bars for killing 2 Chicago cops, a crime he reportedly never did. But his now deceased brother actually did the crime and they knew it. We brought you this story a while ago. Wilson, ironically, his brother, Andrew, were arrested in 1982 concerning the deaths of officers William Fahey and Robert O'Brien. They died from gunshot wounds. When Lieutenant John Burge and his team interrogated the duo, they were tortured and ultimately forced into making false confessions after getting brutally beaten, according to a post from the National Registry of Exoneration. They were allegedly punched and kicked and received electric shocks. At one point, Andrew was burned after being tied to a radiator. Wilson described the torture in detail. They beat me over the head with a dictionary, stuck a gun in my mouth. Then they did the electric shock. Wilson recalled his experience at the time per the outlet. That came after this guy played Russian roulette with a gun in my mouth, end quote. According to reports, Wilson's first conviction was tossed out on appeal. When he was retried in 1989, he was cleared of Fahey's death, but convicted of O'Brien. Wilson's defense team heavily argued that Burgess, that's the cop, the lieutenant, that team pressured him to confess, resulting in his conviction being overturned again in 2018, as reported by the Associated Press. 2 years later, during Wilson's third trial, it was revealed that Tretenko, the prosecutor, had a close relationship with a significant witness in his second trial. He's the head prosecutor during the 1989 trial, admitted to being the godfather to one of the children of witness William Coleman, per Fox 32 Chicago. He is accused of not telling his colleagues about the connection, and special prosecutors decided to dismiss the charges. Horvat reportedly was charged for his actions while he was representing Tretenko when he took the stand, according to reports. Literally right before he took the stand, Andrew Horvat went to the special prosecutor, Lavon Rosen, and said, do not ask Nick Tretenko about his relationship with William Coleman, end quote. He said there was nothing illegal or unethical, but it was just weird. That's not true. It was both illegal and it was unethical. Special Prosecutor Lawrence Oliver II told ABC7 earlier this week. Wow. It took all of this to finally get two prosecutors to face the criminal justice system. Now, this is a huge story because it's abnormal. A police officer will be prosecuted at times for misconduct, not to the tune that they typically commit misconduct, but a prosecutor is rarely ever before a judge in a criminal proceeding. But how many times have we covered stories of exoneration right here? And we clearly see how prosecutors engage in the legal activity, working hand in glove with the law enforcement who also engage in illegal activity. Law enforcement, well, they may get a penalty, suspended, sometimes charged. Prosecutors, not so much. It's a new day now. These prosecutors are facing actual criminal penalty. Ben, thoughts here?
It's such a tough story, you know, hearing the treatment of Wilson, hearing that torture, just reading about it. I almost admitted to the murder because it was so hard to read. No. I mean, imagine going through it. So obviously you can't take anything said during duress like that seriously, let alone as evidence. And I can't fathom being in jail for a month of my life for something I did not do, let alone 3.5 decades of your life. It's just unconscionable and horrific. But I'm not surprised when I hear things like this because we all know how broken our systems are. But I am surprised and pleased the few times when you do hear something like this, even decades later, justice can still come. People can still be held to account for their actions. And that's a little bit of good news, a little bit of hope, as you say, that times are changing and people are being held more to account. And the times when it happens are times to really, really appreciate those moments, not just for the potential punishment coming to those prosecutors who were corrupt, but because if it becomes a culture of holding corrupt prosecutors to account, they're going to stop being as corrupt. They're going to stop prosecuting in unethical ways. And that's a benefit to all of society.
That's right. To every single one of us, to all of us. All right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable stick and stay.
Hey everyone, Matteo Scarapore here, author of Black Buck, which is Shop TYT's first fiction book ever. I'm honored. So, Black Buck is about a young man named Darren who's living in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. He lives with his mom, he has his girlfriend, he has his best friend, he has his neighborhood, and his neighborhood has him. Darren's also working at a Starbucks in Midtown Manhattan. And one day, this man, real suave and good looking, comes in and asks Darren to give him his regular. But for some reason, Darren says no. This man named Rhett Daniels, who's the CEO of a startup called Someone, located on the 36th floor of the same building, is impressed. And he invites Darren upstairs, and then he extends an offer to join his elite sales team. Darren reluctantly joins, and he soon realizes that he's not the only Black salesperson there. He's the only Black person in the entire company. So he goes through hell and back in order to make it to the top. And once there, he has status, money, power. But he says, you know what? I don't like being the token Black guy. So he hatches a plan to help other people of color infiltrate America's tech startup sales teams, redefining what it means to be a minority in the workplace. This book, definitely, if you couldn't tell, touches on many things that are relevant to this moment that we're all living in right now. But it's also connected to the many moments in history that have come before today. I hope that you read it. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you want to order a copy, go to shoptyt.com. Thank you, be well, and happy 2021.
Hi, I'm Cenk Uygur. My new audiobook, Justice is Coming, is now available. So you can start listening now at Amazon, Audible, or wherever books and audiobooks are sold.
Don't allow the powerful to see you feeling hopeless. Even if you do feel hopeless, wallow in your pity and your misery. And I believe me, I do it all the time in the privacy of your own home, but never let them see that they're getting to you. Never let them think that we're gonna give up or that we feel defeated or deflated. You gotta put your game face on and you gotta keep fighting.
The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one.
I don't care if you're Christian. In fact, I will fight for you to have your religious liberty and practice your Christianity. I believe in that. I don't believe in Christianity, which means that you do not get to dictate the way I live my life based on your religion. I don't care what the Bible says. You have every right in the world. All those women who identify with your religion have every right in the world to not get an abortion, to not take birth control, but they do not have the right to dictate my life and what I decide to do with my body. I don't care about your goddamn religion. I'm so tired of having nonstop conversations about what the Bible says. You live your life in the way that you interpret the Bible. Again, I don't care, but you don't get to take the Bible and tell me, well, the Bible says this in this chapter, in this verse. I don't care. I don't care, I don't believe in it, and I have the right, based on our Constitution, to not believe in it.
All right, welcome back. We have a lot of show left. Let me read some of these amazing comments. I'm kind of pressed for time, so I can't read them all, but thank you to everyone who joins the show. All right. James Thompson, thank you for that, James. I want to count up my gift. I want to count up my gifting here. Please, Doc. We appreciate you. Member for 15 months, C. Michael Henson. I'll be so glad when we can rid ourselves of this two-tier justice system. It's bad enough being in jail when you're guilty, but worse when you're not. That's 100. Okay. Hell of a thing. DEA agents searching people. So the agents are in plain clothes, right? And they all of a sudden just pop up on you as you're getting on your plane. Well, an investigative journalist decided to do the same thing and investigate the investigators by dressing in plain clothes and putting the investigators under investigation. It's a hell of a story. Atlanta's News First did a remarkable job on this. Let me give you a reminder of the kind of thing that we're talking about. Here it is. Atlanta News First. All right, let's put up the picture full mass of their reporting out of Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. You see the gentleman here. So the video was from an incident we previously covered where director Tabari Stardivant, who was traveling to LA from Atlanta, the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, he had his bags completely searched by DEA agents who provided no explanation as to why, okay? We also covered this. When you have those two individuals, well known, okay? Eric Andre, fellow comedian, Clayton English. They filed a lawsuit actually after that with claims they were racially profiled by police where? At Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. That's out of Atlanta. This was on separate occasions, 2021 to 2020. The lawsuit quotes records from Clayton County Police showing 56% of jet bridge stops involved Black passengers and 68% were people of color. Atlanta News First investigates recently obtained the same data and is analyzing the cases further. So Clayton County narcotics officers are also searching, in this screenshot, Emmy-winning Hollywood actor, okay, Ellie, on the bridge of an Atlanta to Los Angeles flight in 2020. Now, this part is important. He says, okay, I'm a random search, guys. So he says, panning to the line for the aircraft boarding door and adding, see all those white folks? And I'm the random search. So keep the picture up. They're getting on the plane, which means they have already gone through security. They've gone through TSA, a federal agency. They've gone through a machine that literally sees through your body and your belongings. Boarding the plane, all of a sudden, hey, I'm the random search person. Initially, the Emmy-winning Hollywood actor assumed this was somebody from the airline, as many of us would assume. But he's the police, okay? So both Clayton County Police records and federal court documents show drug agents working at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport rarely find drugs on passengers at departing gates. They rarely do. They do find money. They don't find drugs. More often they find money. Records show agents have seized millions of dollars from passengers at boarding gates. The money is administratively forfeited as the proceeds of drug trafficking, even when no drugs are found. Agents generally do not arrest the passenger, they arrest their money. So you will say, how in the hell is this even illegal? Is this legal? This should be completely illegal, right? Well, it should be. It's legal based on statute. It's legal based on in lieu of evidence. So they take the money. They say, we're going to take this money in lieu of a future investigation. We'll be in touch. And they're never in touch. So now you have to go through the bureaucracy to get your money back. You have to come back to Atlanta typically. You have to go through a song and dance routine in order to get your money back. It is gruesome when you know the process. So a lot of people will say, the hell with that. You can keep that $1,000. You can keep that $500. It's not worth me buying a plane ticket or hiring an attorney to get the money back. And so now you have voluntarily allowed it to forfeit back to the government. They keep it, and they actually just did a legal but illegal fundraiser. See how it works? Okay, there's more. Atlanta News First investigates, found dozens of cases filed in federal court, styled USA versus some amount of currency. Passengers must file a claim within 45 days of receiving official notice. The government has seized their money or is automatically forfeited back to the government who seized the money in the first place. Most cases never go before a judge. This is all done by way of what's called administrative policy, okay? Technically, the burden of proof is on the government to show by a preponderance of the evidence, more likely than not, that the money is from drug trafficking. In practice, based on court records, passengers are forced to prove their money innocent on the spot at the airport gate or is seized as drug proceeds. After drug agents find money, passengers are forced to pull up bank statements on their phones or otherwise provide proof money is not from drug trafficking. That is not how this is supposed to work. So let's say this happens to you and you tell the federal agent, I'm not answering questions. I have the right to remain silent. Check the bag all you want. I'm getting on my plane. Oh, must be drug money. We're going to seize it. There's more. Merely flying from Atlanta to Los Angeles is suspicious, according to multiple probable cause statements, because, quote, it's a known drug trafficking route. Really? Atlanta to LA is also a popular route for film and the television industry. Several of the innocent passengers who talk with Atlanta News First investigates are in the entertainment business. There's a strong incentive for drug agents to search bags for money at the airport, even when drugs are not found. Their agencies get to keep the money through a memorandum of understanding with local police departments, such as Brookhaven's. The DEA gives police a cut of the proceeds from the money the task force officers seize. Oh, there's more. Brookhaven police have received more than $100,000 from the DEA since its department assigned a Brookhaven K9 handler and his dog to the drug task force a little more than a year ago. The police department is 14 miles from the airport and in an entirely different county called DeKalb County. How does that work? Who the hell knows? There's more. Let's put them up. Sergeant David Fikes, who is featured on the Brookhaven Police Department's Facebook page, even though he is conducting plainclothes drug interdiction operations at the airport and elsewhere. So the sergeant has been involved in the seizure of $1,163,000 plus. That's according to records Atlanta News First investigates obtained through an open records request. His department's cut is about 9% of that money. But Brookhaven is responsible for his salary, police car, K9, and other expenses. Are you getting the picture here? Innocent people who were searched at the airport said they were unsure of their rights to decline a search by police at the gate. Airline passengers must submit to a security screening by TSA or else be denied entry into the airport secure area under federal regulations. Passengers can be denied boarding for declining a security screening. But passengers don't surrender their Fourth Amendment rights against warrantless searches by police just because they're at the airport. According to multiple analysts and court documents, the DEA officially calls its stop and searches at airport gates cold consent encounters. Passengers are free to end the discussion and walk away, according to the DEA, even if they are unaware of those rights. But let me tell you how they do it. They would say something like, hey, listen, either sign this consent or I'm going to find a reason to get a warrant to search your bags. And that means you are going to miss this flight. And so you say, go ahead and search. Well, you signed the consent then. You signed the consent. And they take your money. And they say, board your flight. 45 days, you can get your money back. Just go through this process that we know good and damn well you won't. Wow. Great reporting by the investigative journalist at Atlanta News First. Ben, thoughts here?
Seems like typical police operations to me. I don't see anything untoward. They are conducting searches without proper consent. They are not finding drugs. They're seizing the money and they're taking a cut of it to fund their operations. It seems like the way things were meant to operate in a broken system. Because Atlanta to LA is a suspicious route, Andre and English are buddies of mine. We're all comedians. I've done that route a million times because I'm going from the Laughing Skull Comedy Club or the Atlanta Improv when it was around back to LA. And I've never been searched. And I wonder why that is. Anybody take a look at me and got an idea why I have not been searched or had my money taken away? The fact that you can take money when not finding drugs is bonkers. And also as a side note, if I ever were searched, they wouldn't find drugs on me because like any good citizen, I get rid of my weed before I board the plane.
Right. There you go, that part. Okay, we're gonna bring you updates as they come. Obviously, this is a developing story. UK cop, so the police, they decided to do this to a child. Here it is. Put up the picture full mask. A disturbing viral video captured a British police officer putting a black child, 14 years of age, in a headlock. You see that first screenshot? That is a full headlock to a child. This was during a scuffle before deciding to throw the teen down and then aiming at the teen and shooting the teen with his taser while the teen was down. Officials say the teen was arrested for assaulting an officer and other minor charges, including resisting arrest. This was once again in the UK. The incident, according to West Midland Police, was a response to their coming to secure a civil matter between neighbors. On Monday, October 16th, a little after 5:15 p.m., footage shows the WMP officer wrestling the child down to the ground in front of his parents' home in the Bromford district of Birmingham, England. Bystanders are crying out, saying, quote, "Get off him, get off him," as a confrontation results in him being placed in a headlock. The 14-year-old child breaks away and starts to run. That is when the officer, he was struggling with, aims his taser, shoots the kid down with approximately 50,000 volts of pure electricity. In the video, a woman thought to be the child's mother can be heard shouting, "He's 14. What the F have you done to my son?" End quote. As the officer tells the child not to move, people can be heard pleading, "Watch his asthma. Look, he can't breathe. He's a child." The officer can be heard telling people, "Stay back," before adding, "I don't care. I don't care." The WMP statement said officers attempted to defuse the situation, but threats of criminal damage were made. One of the officers tried to arrest the suspect, but he resisted, and the officer was further attacked by another man. During the scuffle, the 14-year-old child was tasered. The statement said, according to the Daily Mail, police confirmed they arrested the child along with a 37-year-old man on suspicion of assaulting a police officer, and the pair remain in custody. The teenager was also arrested for criminal damage and threats to cause criminal damage. Thousands have viewed the video on social media, leading Black Lives Matter UK to write, quote, disturbing footage reveals a 14-year-old black child being choked and tasered by West Midlands police, highlighting the urgent need to end police brutality and excessive use of force. Others who shared the video commented that the officer seemed to escalate the situation rather than get it under control, saying that the process they utilized cannot be an acceptable practice. A spokesperson from the West Midlands Police stated that the department is currently reviewing officers' body camera footage and will refer the matter to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, which commented on the occurrence. A spokesperson for the IOPC said, and I quote, "We are aware of this incident, and we understand that a referral is to be made to us by West Midlands Police in relation to it. When we receive that, we will carry out a thorough assessment to determine what further action is required from us." Hell of a thing. Once again, normative policing, but this is in the UK. Thoughts?
I mean, it is typical. It is not surprising. I don't know what the young man expected, though. You can't be allowed as a young black man to be in front of your mom's house. I put that on him. You know, you should probably just FaceTime. I mean, where are you safe? Where are you allowed to go? I guess my only thought in this matter is, thank God British police don't have guns.
Yeah, so exactly. 50,000 volts of electricity can kill a person, but he is alive and probably not doing great, but he's alive. All right. Remember we covered a judge that decided to pull out a gun on a black male? Well, finally, that judge has been removed. Put up the picture full mask. This is insane. In an update, a New York judge, Robert J. Patorti, has finally been removed from the bench after he admitted he pulled a gun on a black man who he repeatedly described as a large black man when he said he was 6'9" tall. That's damn near 7 feet tall and built like a football player. But the person in question is barely 6 feet tall, and he weighs 165 pounds. Okay, all right. The judge admitted he did not even feel his life was in danger when he pulled the weapon on Mr. Wood. He also regularly kept a gun under the desk at his judge's bench. So records show that while the judge served as a judge, he also is the owner of Big Boys Guns in Whitehall. So this judge argued that not only did he have a license to carry the pistol, but he had made it a habit of safekeeping it attached to the underside of the bench while he heard cases. That's according to the Time. And that in the moment he pulled the gun, the unnamed litigant had lunged toward the bench too quickly. However, the Times detailed how the judge ultimately backed off that account, acknowledging at the time that nobody in the court, including the uniformed officer, nor an assistant district attorney, would be able to support his version of events. Okay. The judge, who is not an attorney, by the way, began his term in 2014 in Washington County, New York, which is about 50 miles north of Albany, New York, and is 94% white, with just 3% of the county being black. Now, many of you may say, well, how in the hell can a person become a judge without being an attorney or having a law degree, et cetera? Well, there are many counties in the United States, including the state of Georgia, where I am at. If your county threshold of population or your local jurisdiction threshold population is below a certain amount, well, they will allow for certain positions like probate judge to not have a law degree to become a judge. All right, there you have it. So the commission's administrative counsel wrote in the decision that the judge had, quote, exploited a classic and common racist trope that black men are inherently threatening or dangerous, and that his actions at the time and afterward demonstrate bias. Clearly, his constant repetition of the racial element and his exaggeration of the physical characteristics of this particular defendant were shocking and totally undignified and inappropriate for a judge to make. That's according to the Times. All right, there you go. Here's true justice. You arrest the judge for menacing a weapon, okay? You arrest the judge for violent intimidation, menacing a weapon. That did not happen, not even a charge. Took you long enough to get him off the bench. But you may want to revisit that policy, gentlemen, that you all have there that allowed this person to become a judge. Obviously, how can someone judge fairly if they are literally lying in front of their entire judicial staff? All right, Ben, thoughts here.
This is what happens, Doc, when instead of having a lawyer as your judge, you have the proprietor of Big Boys Guns.
Right.
I mean, that you could have seen this coming.
Really cool.
Calling a man who is 6 feet tall, 165, a big black man. I mean, I'm a bigger black man than that man was. I'm 6'1" and was recently 223. I'm down to 193 now, and that's me skinny. 165.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was intimidated by the man, he could have just blown towards him and he would have knocked him back. Pulling a gun is appropriate in no respect in this case. A judge shouldn't have a gun in the courthouse in the first place. And it's good that justice at least came in removing him from the bench. It only took basically a decade.
Right. Yeah, I finally caught up with him. All right. Always a pleasure, dear brother, having you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you. Check out your great work.
Thank you, Doc. On October 28th, I'm doing my 4th annual Gleib Off the Top Halloween Spectacular, my Halloween special. Join me live and virtual at nowherecomedy.com, choking on my excitement there. And follow me at Ben Gleib on Twitter and mostly on Instagram, where I post far too much and I get too much joy out of it. And also a lot of pain.
But much more joy, right?
Absolutely.
There you go.
It's that masochistic pain that I can't get enough of.
That's right. Always a pleasure, man. Until next time. Okay. The Bullpen is next. Stick and stay.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
No one is representing what I call the silent majority, which is about 2/3 of this country, indisputably progressive.
But now we say the time has come for regime change in American television.
The Young Turks Network.
You have the Young Turks saying this is the time to fight for our values.
Young Turks is the oldest left media institution, I believe, that there is. Real front runner in the online media space.
You guys might know us.
Biggest online left of center outlet that exists.
All of you know the Young Turks.
People from this district heard about Justice Democrats by watching your show.
Thanks to the Young Turks for covering Trayvon Martin's case early on when few people were covered.
They don't stop, I won't stop. Racism won't stop, so I won't stop.
Species are at risk of going extinct. Major media outlets did not dedicate much time at all to that.
We reached a whole heap of people with our progressive message.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks. When you were growing up, what did you want to be?
I think I was starting to think I don't want to do one thing, and I did live up to that.
Well, mission accomplished then, because Dave was a geologist.
Yeah.
And now he's, helped found the Young Turks. Even within TYT, you've done a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So if you want to do different things, you nailed it. All right, last story to end on is a Dave story. Whenever there was something like obvious, glaring, he would go up and ask them about it. Like, it'd be like a giant church, right? And somebody's standing in front of it. The usual Dave go, pull up right in front of him. Be like, hey, do you know where there's a church around here? And they're like, right here. It's right here.
Practical jokes. Spice up life a little.
Welcome to Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. I'm Brett Ehrlich, and this is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. The Trump administration, Trump mandated Trump, that Trump, every Trump, other Trump, word Trump, be Trump, Trump.
Are
Our generation actually has a voice to say who we want.
For the first time ever, we are the biggest voting bloc in America.
One of the people we've been talking about for months and months will be the president of the United States for the next 4 years.
And for a lot of us, this is the first time that we're ever going to vote.
Do you have any idea how much of a difference 4 years makes?
The action that we take right now doesn't just affect us right now.
Discussion is important, but words aren't the only thing. You have to take action.
So that we can actually affect real change instead of just talking about it.
Get out there and
take a part in making a difference.
Every voice really does matter, whether young or old, especially young people. Get out there and vote, damn it.
Now, more than ever, we can make a change.
I'm gonna vote because I want this country to be different.
I don't want the older generation to decide our future.
I want to make this world a better place for my son.
You can make change.
Vote IRL.
Vote IRL.
Vote IRL.
Vote IRL.
Vote Earl.
Vote in real life.
Vote IRL.
Joe Crowley is congressman from New York. He's very powerful, arguably one of the top Democrats in the House. But there's someone finally challenging him, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The election is today. If she wins, David beats Goliath.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has defeated Joe Crowley.
You made that happen. You're David. You just beat Goliath tonight. 2018 is a warm-up act. Wait till you get a load of 2020.
All right, welcome back. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues with the bullpen, but we are going to reschedule that bullpen for next week. I do have an update to a story where somebody did something really extreme and a judge has decided to increase the bond significantly. Here it is. Biker who attacked a vehicle. Cody Haran. All right, let's put the picture up full mass. This is an interesting update, okay? Cody Haran damages Nikki Bullock's vehicle and then decides to wave a gun during a confrontation. A judge, instead of decreasing the bond of the 26-year-old Cody, has decided to increase the bond of Cody. The Philly biker was caught on camera damaging a black woman's car earlier this month, per NBC affiliate. His bond was raised to $4 million on Monday. So Cody is currently charged with recklessly endangering another person and simple assault, per the outlet, and is set to attend his arraignment on the 30th of this month. Let's put her up. The 26-year-old was identified as the attacker who smashed out the back of Nikki Bullock's vehicle near City Hall. This was after 9:30 p.m. on October 1st. After eyewitness video and tips aided authorities, Bullock's girlfriend and her children were inside the car while she was completing an Uber Eats order. Let's put it up. So you got the recorded video captured Cody on top of the car before smashing the rear window and then hopping off. This is basically terrorizing multiple people inside of that vehicle. When Bullock confronted him, he decided to wave his gun, head-butted Bullock with his helmet on, shoved her. When getting back on his bike, Bullock pushed him off and he fled soon after. Bullock previously said that the confrontation stemmed from an argument after the bikers were not paying attention to lanes and hit her car. She also said she wasn't afraid of his little gun. I'm just grateful that my kids are okay. There's not a scratch on them, she said, per NBC Philadelphia. It was just the simple fact that I had kids in the car. I just wanted to protect them honestly. She reported the incident to the police the next day, which led to the incarceration, obviously, of an individual who's dangerous. Now, why did the judge increase the bond? Because of the extenuating circumstances. You have aggression, you have children, you have menacing, you have violence, you have willful, continuous misconduct, okay? And it's close to a government building. So I think these aggravating factors played into the increase of bond, something you don't see often, probably should see more of. All right. This has been indisputable. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.